Norbit, Norbit, Norbit. Y'all, we are going to be talking about one of one of my favorite comedies, okay? I'm not a huge comedy person like that, but this one was hilarious. I like Couples Retreat, that's my number one, okay? And then Paul Blart Mall Cop is my number two. But this one is maybe my number three or number four, okay? We are going to get into it, but before we do so, do not forget to leave a comment down below. Also, like and subscribe. And now let's get into this spoiler movie review talk discussion thing, okay? So we're gonna be talking about Norbit. Came out in 2007. So it first starts out, this is a DreamWorks property, and it starts out with like these old Negro spiritual, like, oh, this Norbit, oh, our time in this morning, just, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing over here? Okay, so it starts out with these Negro spirituals, and then we see Norbit as a baby. Like, when I say baby, I'm not talking about like, oh, 3-4 months. I'm talking about like probably a month. Okay, we see Norbit as a baby, and his parents they drop him. They throw him out the car. Essentially, he rolling like a ball. And Norbit is narrating this whole thing like, oh, my parents love me, and they just threw him out there. So where does he go? He gets landed into or onto the steps outside of the Golden Wonton, orphanage. Okay, so we see a man come out, a quote unquote Asian man. All it is Eddie Murphy dressed up in Asian or yellow face, I guess you can say. Okay, and he goes and says, "Ling Ling, someone left another one." Y'all. This was hilarious, y'all. I'm sorry. This movie is hilarious to me. To me, it's funny. Okay. But he goes in, he's just saying all of this. He got the little Asian accent, the Chinese accent. He says, do not eat another baby. Get out, coyotes, get out. And I'm like, what do you mean another baby? Coyotes just be coming and eating. Then he said, oh, we can't give these away. Ugly black one. And then I'm like, oh no. I'm like, dang, yo. So, but we see he's saying ugly, and I'm looking like, Norbit is cute. It's a cute little baby. I was like, what the heck? But then you find out that Mr. Wan, he loves to do whaling. He loves to go whaling. So you see that as Norbit is getting older, and there's other kids in this orphanage, he's having them have this like a wooden whale, and it's like 7 or 8 kids holding up this whale to pretend like he's whaling. Then he has a spear and throws it, and it's like it's about that much from Norbit's face, and it's like, dude, you could kill this. Then he said, why you run off like little bee? And I'm like, dude, you're about to kill these kids. What are you talking about? So this movie automatically is hidden with bangers for me, y'all. So then we see this little girl, her name is Kate, and essentially this is Norbit's homegirl. Okay, so those two were best friends or whatnot. They even pooped together, all that. They got married with these little, ring pops under a tree. And it was like, oh, they were about 7 or 6, something like that. But then Norbit gets upset because Kate ends up getting adopted. And he's like, no, oh, I'll never see her again. Okay, so she's done. So now we cut to Norbit being probably a teenager. I would say maybe about 15 years old. And he's in the park, I think he was building a sandcastle. And then these 2 twin white boys come up and they knock his stuff over. And then, then this girl, big black girl named Respucia. Okay, she pops up. And she's like, leave him alone. And they're like, says who? And she goes like this, like knocks both of their heads together. Y'all. Knocks both of their heads together. And then Norbit's like, who are you? And she was like, Respucia, what's your name? And then he's like, Norbit? Norbit? That is a stupid name. And then she was like, you got a girlfriend, lesbian? And he's like, Norbit? She's like, and then I'm thinking, girl, you messed up his name. What you smacking your lips for? You the one who messed his name up. And then he was like, no. She's like, well, you do now. Get your ass and hold my hand. And then I'm like, okay, I guess he's in a relationship now, y'all. Ooh, I've been scared. I've been scared. So then we cut to a scene and we meet her 3 brothers. Blue, oh boy, Big Black Jack, and Earl. Okay, Big Black Jack is Terry Crews. Okay, now they are all called the Lattimores. That's their last name. Okay, I mean, these people are terrible. So then we see like a little montage of essentially they're just going to people's businesses and beating them up. They're going to people's businesses and they're beating them up, trying to extort money, trying to say, okay, you need to sell your business and, you know, give it to us, or, you know, it's going to be me and you. You know, it's like, wait, what's going on? And you find out, I mean, these people are shady. Okay, let's keep it real. No legitimate person doing this. So Norbit and Rasputia, they've been doing their thing or whatnot. And then they're like, you know what? Let's go and tie the knot. So they're like, okay, let's go and get married. Yeah. They are now at the altar. They're about to say, you know, I do. They say I do or whatever. And they're about to kiss. And Norbit, you could just tell, like, he is so disgusted. And Rasputia obviously is Eddie Murphy in drag and, you know, doing his thing. But in a fat suit. But you see her teeth is so nasty. She's like this. And I was like, oh my God, ew. He was just not feeling it. He was just like, I really don't want to kiss this thing, but she is the only family I have. No one else is there for me. No one else is really interested in me but her. So I guess I gotta do it. Okay. And then she's like, open your mouth. And then he's like, and then they do like this nasty, ugh. Oh, making me itch. They're doing this little nasty kiss or whatever, right? So then at this wedding, we insert the pimps. It's Eddie Griffin and it is Cat Williams. Okay. And these two, they're and this is still a wedding. And these two are just ragging on her. They're over here like, oh, she fat, you know, oh, this is a horror. Well, Juan said this is a horror show. And they were like, oh, we're jealous, aren't we? Yeah, we're jealous. Like, oh, well, lady. And they're like, oh, thanks, guys. Then we cut to Terry Crews. He's over here threatening Norbit. He's like, you know, don't hurt my sister and this and that. There's a scene here where you see an Italian dude. He's like, who took a hunk of my cake? And you see Rasputia. I didn't have no cake. But it's nothing but, you know, I mean, it's icing all over her mouth. And it's her wedding, so does it really matter? Because, I mean, you're saying who took a hunk out of my cake? And it's like, but this is her wedding cake, so I didn't get that part, but whatever. So then we got Mr. Wong. He goes up there to the mic. He's telling the story. And he's, y'all, his story was so messed up. He said one day, Norbit was like, one day I want to marry a girl. And he's like, and you go and you marry a gorilla. I was like, yo. So, I mean, yo, this movie is nothing but fat jokes. So if you're, you know, all fat phobic or whatever you are, fat, whatever. If you don't like that, you ain't gonna like this movie because it's nothing but fat jokes. They was telling him, then he was saying a story about how Norbit got bit by a snake. Then he was like, well, I had to think like, do I suck snake out of Norbit booty or do I let him die? He was like, the moral of the story, he said, Norbit is strong. He said, because I wasn't going to suck any poison out of his booty. And I was cracking up with that. I was like, this is ridiculous, yo. So the wedding is said and done, right? So now Norbit and Rasputia head home. And she's like, oh, I want you to carry me over the threshold. And he's like, lady, I'm about 190 pounds. And you are about 400 pounds or 385 pounds. I can't pick you up. Okay. That's too much. And she was just like, oh, be a man. You ain't no man. You pathetic. And I'm like, girl, you married this man. You doing number ragging on him. And I mean, you ain't even all that. Because she makes it seem like, oh, I'm all that. Girl, you ain't all that. Okay. So then we have a montage of each holiday that happened in the bedroom, if you know what I mean. And her dressing up and everything. She keeps breaking the bed. He gets to a point where he has to put cement blocks under there because she just plops herself down after she breaks the bed each time. You know, after, you know, she about to do what she got to do. Okay. He must have a you know what, because I don't know how he getting through all that. Okay. But let's continue. So now we are fully into the marriage days. Okay, so they are married, whatever. We don't know how much time has passed, but let's just say a couple months. So she yelling. She comes out the house. Respucia's over here yelling at this old lady and her dog, being like, "Oh, keep that dog over there." So then she gets in the car. Norbit's already waiting in the car for her at the passenger side, and she gets in the driver's seat. And she's like, "Oh, you over here adjusting my seat. Oh, you adjusting my seat." Because she's so fat. All she's doing, she keeps eating, and she's getting closer and closer to the steering wheel. Okay. He's like, "I didn't adjust it." She's like, "Look, he's like, it looks like it's as back as far as it can go." And then she's like, "Oh, shut up." And she hits him. I'm like, what the heck, yo? What? So then we cut to a scene where the Lattimores go to Mr. Wongton, and he calls them the Rattimore. But the Lattimores go to Mr. Wongton, and essentially they're like, "Okay, we want to go in. We're going to buy this place." And he's like, "I'm not selling it to you." And he's like, "Okay, well, we're going to go and steal it." So then he goes and gets his whaling spear. He was like, "Over my dead body," essentially. They're like, "Okay, man, you crazy. We're going to get out of here. Whatever, dude, F you, whatever. We're going to have to find another way." So then we cut to a scene where we are with Respucia at a dance class. And y'all, this is probably my favorite part in this whole thing, right? So we got my homeboy Marlon Wayans. And yes, I know it's pronounced Marlon Wayans, but I like saying Marlon Wayans, okay? So we got our Marlon Wayans up in here. He is a dance instructor called Buster, okay? He's doing the power tap, okay? And he's doing the do, all this mess, okay? And some of these things are hilarious, okay? He's just doing Marlon Wayans things, okay? So he's like, "Here comes the cat. Here comes the cat. Say, take me to jail. Say, take me to jail. Come on, white people, river dance. Come on." He's like, "Pump, pump, 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 pump it up. Pump, 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 pump it down. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 11, 12, and all this other stuff." Okay, so he's doing all this. He's a creep dude. Okay, let's keep it real. So Respucia, she's like, "Ooh, Buster." Then y'all. She's like, "Ooh, Buster." And he was like, "Ooh, looking at you." He said, "Ooh, look at you looking like the great pump girl. Trick or treat, what's going on?" Then she's like, "Oh, well, I was just thinking maybe I could get one of them private lessons. I mean, look at me. I'm so flexible." And oh, yes. And all the other stuff. Then he was like, "Oh, yeah, I mean, we could do that." He's like, "But I mean, I got a videotape that I want to get funded." She's like, "Oh, yeah, I could work on that." So that's why he's interested, quote unquote, interested in her, because he has an ulterior motive. Okay. So now we skip to a scene where we are at a barbecue joint. Norbit goes to the barbecue joint. We got the two pimps outside. He, for some reason, being so oblivious, he's like, "Well, I didn't even know that you guys were even pimps." And I'm like, dude, they're dressed as pimps. They talk like pimps. I mean, they walk like a duck. They quack like a duck. What you think they were? Okay, so he does all that. So then he's like, "Yo, I'm just going to get my usual for Respucia and all that." And Griffin, he goes and says, one of the pimps, he goes and says, "Get King Kong 3 large buckets, extra sauce, and don't trim that fat." So it's just another fat joke, okay? This scene didn't make any sense because he ordered the food from the Rib Shack, and then he left because he's like, "Oh, while you guys are cooking it and preparing it, I got to go back home and get the puppets." And then he doesn't go back to get the food. But then he leaves. But when he leaves, it didn't make any sense for that little part right there. Maybe I was tripping. And it's not really that big of a deal. But still, he goes to the Rib Shack. He orders the food. And he says, "Oh, I got to run. I got to get my puppets." Then he leaves. But we don't see him return back to the Rib Shack. But when he leaves to go to the house to get the puppets, he has a bag of food in his hands. I'm assuming from the Rib Shack. But we heard what was ordered, which was 3 large buckets with extra sauce, but he has a little thing that really would fit like a burger and some fries. So y'all, okay, I know y'all probably think, "Alex, you're reading too deep. You're reading too deep into this." I'm just curious, I want some continuity going on. Okay, I mean, if we're gonna be real, let's be real. Okay, but anyways, that's so like trivial. It doesn't even matter. Okay, but anyways, so we go to the next scene, where Norbit is heading home because he has to go and get my puppets. I gotta get my puppets, so he has to go and get his puppets. And he goes in the house. He sees a car outside. He's like, that's weird. He goes and smells in the air. He's like, oh. So obviously there's some dirty sex going on in the air. And then he goes in the room and Rasputia, okay, we don't see it, but I like saying it. She's getting her back blown out. Okay, but that's not what's happening. They were doing the do, but by the private Buster, the private dance instructor. Okay, so he's over there, doing some power tap on him. So so Buster comes out of the bed, and then his Johnson is hard. Okay, and then. And then Norbit's just looking down like, what the heck? And he's like, this isn't what it looks like. He's like, you're naked, you're dick out. I guess I'm confused. Maybe I'm going crazy. I don't know. Okay, but it looks like a duck. It talks like a duck. I'm confused. Okay, so he ends up leaving, and his booty's exposed. Everything. So Buster leaves. And Rasputia's like, it ain't what you think it is. You over here thinking I'm messing around. I'm thinking, well, you are. So they're trying to make it seem like he's crazy. And I'm like, no. So then she said, I didn't cheat or whatever. And then he was like, this makes you the queen of whores. And then she's like, her. And she starts chasing him around the neighborhood, yo. And then she gets exhausted after the first corner turn, really. And then she's like, go there, Ripshot. Give me a short stack of ribs. So another thing, okay, because she's fat, she needs to eat all the time. Okay. So then he takes the ring off of his finger. He's like, you know what? You're not loyal, yo. You lied to me. What the heck? So now we skip to him going to a puppet show, because that was the whole reason why he went back to the house. He starts airing out his frustrations on these puppets, y'all. I mean, he starts cursing in front of these kids and all that. I mean, it got so bad, Mr. Wan is like, yo, he said, this is a puppet show for kids. What are you doing? He was like, oh, man, I'm bad. I'm sorry. Whatever. So then a lady appears, real skinny, itty-bitty lady, and her name is Kate. Kate from back in the day, okay? The little Kate. Now she's all grown up. And she's looking like the girl next door. She said that she's moving back to town and she wants to buy the orphanage. And then she's like, hey, for Tuesday, let's go and hang out and have lunch, Norbit, because we could go and catch up and whatnot. Then he was like, oh, nice. So now, he's all geeked for it. He's like, ooh, Tuesday, cut to now it's Tuesday. He's leaving the house and whatnot. And we see Buster at the door. And then he was like, the door's there. He said, pretty much you could F my wife. I don't care. I got fresh towels in there. You guys enjoy. And then Buster's just like, what's up with him? And Rasputia was like, I don't know, but I need that private lesson. And then he's like, oh, God. So then Norbit hangs out with Kate, they meet at the restaurant. But she didn't tell you that she has her boyfriend, Dion Hughes, which is played by Cuba Gooding Jr. She didn't say that he's going to be meeting too. He's thinking that this is going to be some nice little, let's catch up, just you and I. But no, that's not what was going on. So now he's just like, oh, man. She starts kissing him and in front of him. And I'm like, dang, y'all couldn't have done this somewhere. So then he's like, whatever. He goes home. Now we cut to nighttime. And he's sharing the bed with Rasputia. Rasputia's taking up 90% of the bed. So he's like, man, you know what? A man needs his own space. He pushes her to the side. He's like, yeah. And she rolls over on him. Because she's fat, y'all, okay? So now we go to the next day. I think it was the next day. And it's a car scene, okay? So now she's trying to get in the car. And she's even bigger than the time she was in the car the last time, y'all. I mean, she's huge. And she's like, how you doing? And she breaks. So she breaks the car seat as she's trying to get some space in there. And then she sees how, so that happens or whatever. Then it's a whole little montage, whatever. So then she goes and runs over a freaking dog, because this was the dog that she was yelling at the old lady about earlier. She runs him over, and Norbit's just like, you're just evil. And he was like, I'm done with you. I can't with you, whatnot. And he's like, this is the last straw, I'm done with you. So she's like, Norbit, you just can't leave. Norbit, please, I'm with child.
Girl,
and he was like, with child? She said, oh, baby, couldn't you tell? I'm getting a little belly. Oh, I just Norbit. And you know she lying, okay? So now we cut to a scene where we're at the carnival, okay? The reason why we're here is because Kate is there with Norbit. And, you know, Kate invited Norbit. Rasputia was like, I want to join too, whatever happens, okay? So Dion is there. Dion, he doesn't care about orphanages. He got some other lady on the side that he's talking to, okay? So he ain't really all that, okay? So then when Rasputia meets Kate, Rasputia, who you? And doing all the little, oh, look at you, and da-da-da-da, whatever. And obviously you could tell that she is jealous of her, okay? Then you see that Norbit was talking to Rasputia, and Rasputia was like, give me another wine cooler. And Norbit's like, wine cooler? He's like, you're pregnant. She's like, I'm pregnant? I ain't with. She's like, oh, I just had gas. You see, and he's just like, I was this close to leaving you. You said you were pregnant. You lied about it. And now, what the heck, yo? So that's what was going on. And at this whole carnival, one of my songs, Temperature, temperature, da, 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 da. You know, that song comes on. I was like, okay. That song gets me going. Yo, yes, okay. Some kids go and steal a hat. You know, there's a whole little jamboree kind of thing happens and all that, okay? And then Rasputia, after her little fiasco happens, she goes and sees that Norbit and Kate are dancing with one another. He's also just trying to break free because he doesn't like her at all. One. And two, she lied about being pregnant. Rasputia goes over to Norbit and Kate. And Norbit, he's over here dancing The Temperature by Sean Paul. He's like, yes, yes, yes. And then she's like, okay. And then she like throws a speaker. She's like, go Norbit, go Norbit, go Norbit, go Norbit. And then like it hits his afro and whatnot, so he ends up in the hospital. Now we cut to a scene where we have the Lattimores and they're over here talking to Dion, saying like, oh, your fiance is about to buy that orphanage. You know, we need to get up in there. And Dion's like, yo, they ain't got anything to do with me. Then he was like, yo, we could have a booby bar. You know, if you get the rights signed over to us, that's what we're gonna turn into. It's gonna be Nippolopolis. You know, come on. You want to make a booby bar? Or you want to have orphanage? Which one you want to do? He was like, well, I mean, that does sound good. So now Dion's gonna be working with the Lattimores. Okay. So now we cut to we're in the hospital, and Kate essentially invites Norbit to the water park. Now he's released from the hospital, and Norbit is now at home. And a couple days pass, whatever. And now he's like, okay, I'm ready. I got my swim trunks. I got my towel and all that. And then Rasputia sees him. She's like, where you going? Then he was like, oh, I'm just gonna go to a water park or whatnot. She was like, is little thing gonna be there? He was like, a little thing. She's like, you know who I'm talking about. She gonna be there? He was like, I mean, she'll be there. And she's like, well, I'm going. Y'all. So she gets this... She gets this 2-piece swimsuit, y'all. And this thing is a hot mess. So we're at this water park, and one of the attendants are like, are you wearing bottoms? And she was like, oh, of course I'm wearing bottoms. See? And she pulls up her stomach because she's fat, y'all. You get it? Okay. So she pulls up her stomach and whatnot, and she gets admitted in. Okay. It's a whole mess that happens. She sees Kate, and they're over here talking. They're like in one of those little lounge chairs, by the pool. And she says that, ooh, Norbit, he likes big women. He don't like them little skinny toothpicks like you. Ooh, I was thinking about going on diet, but ooh, he likes this. I can't get him off of me. Hey, and all this other stuff, right? So she's saying all of this mess to Kate. And Kate's over here thinking, he likes that? He doesn't like my skinny stuff? Oh, okay. Well, I guess, what am I? Chopped liver? Okay. Then... Rasputia, she goes and gets some snacks or something because she's fat, and Kate and Norbit meet up, and they're watching the kids and all that. And Kate was over here saying like, yeah, we're gonna be getting married, Dion and I, this Saturday. And he's like, what, this Saturday? She was like, yeah, it just makes sense to just get it done and get it over with, do it quick or whatever. And then he's just like, All right, whatever. So then Kate's like, you know what? I'm gonna get on the slide, and you could watch me come down or whatever, and whatever, and with all the other kids. And he was like, yeah, cool. So she comes down the slide, and Rasputia gets jealous. So of course Rasputia got to go down the slide, right? So she's all the way at the top. It's one of those big, long, steep slides, okay? And apparently there's a 300-pound weight limit. And this woman was like, there's a 300-pound weight limit? And she's like, oh, what are you talking about? I'm 165. How are you doing? It's hilarious, y'all. I remember when I was younger, I watched this movie with my dad. I was like, what does that mean? How are you doing? How you doing? I was like, I mean, what is that supposed to mean? I was like, she's not asking you. He was like, it means like, obviously what you think about that, and stuff like that. Like, oh, watch me or something like that. Essentially, that's what it is. So that's her tag, and it's, how you doing? Y'all, she goes down the slide and does not stop. She breaks through this wood wall and ends up in the whole nother slide. Y'all, it's a whole hot mess, okay? So then after this whole water park fiasco, it's a whole hot mess. Norbit has essentially been sneaking out multiple times, just making up excuse. Oh man, the refrigerator's running. I gotta go catch it. Okay, you do it. And it's all this other kind of stuff and all that's going on. So that's what's happening. And that's how he's able to spend some more time with her, on multiple occasions. So we then cut to a scene at the beauty shop where Kate and Rasputia are both getting their hair done. Rasputia's already there and Kate's getting her hair done. She just sat down. And she was over here essentially, you better leave my husband alone, even though I'm cheating on him, but you need to leave him alone. I'm like, okay, girl. All right. So now we go and cut to the Lattimores. Norbit is about to hang out with Kate. He's about to go and make up a new excuse to Rasputia. And the Lattimores are like, yo, I need you to hang out with Kate. He was like, sure. I mean, I could clear my schedule. I mean, yeah, what I need to do. Here, just go and have her sign these paperwork or whatever, these paper, it's just some documents, whatever. Just have her sign it. He's like, okay, cool. So then he goes and meets Kate, and Kate and him, they're talking, and she signs these papers. She doesn't read it, which is stupid. She doesn't read it because she's like, it's Norbit, why would he lie? Why would he, bamboozle me? Essentially is what was going on. So that's what ended up happening. Okay, so as he's on this meeting date thing with Kate, one of the brothers brings over 4 pieces for Rasputia because she fat. Okay, he brings over 4 pieces for her, and then she asks something online. It was just like, where's Norbit? And he was like, I don't know. She has a salt shaker just shaking the salt on the pizza, looking at him like, I'm gonna kill you if you don't tell me. And he was like, she's with her. They're at a restaurant. She's like, oh. So it's this whole montage, not whole montage, but it's this whole scene where essentially Rasputia is running over there, driving, to go and catch Norbit in the act and all that kind of stuff. There's this church scene because Norbit and Kate then leave a restaurant. They go to the church to rehearse Kate's vows with Dion, but she doing it with Norbit. Okay, they end up kissing and whatnot. Rasputia is furious. Okay, she is mad. She sees it, whatever. She goes red. By the time she gets out of the car and gets into the church, they are gone. Norbit, he goes to Kate. He's like, I'm sorry. She's like, I just can't. And then he goes back home. And as the movie progresses, Rasputia looks worse and worse and worse. She's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and her hair is getting drier and drier and drier. Okay, y'all. So now, y'all, they get back home. She literally throws Norbit out of the window and threatens to kill Kate. So she's like, you mess with this little thing again, she's gonna be in a box. Okay, so Norbit's like, oh my goodness. So now we cut to a scene with Kate and Dion, and Dion's like, well, can you believe that the Lattimore, they have their name on this document so that they could get a liquor license. She was like, what are you talking about? So then she found out that Norbit had her sign over essentially her rights to this property, liquor license and all that with these documents. That's what they were. And she's like, oh my goodness. So then she goes to the house And she's like, yo, dude, like, what the heck? You know, what's going on? And he was like, and she was like, you know what? Don't you ever talk to me again? You know, she does all that. She dips. And Rasputia like, you know, that's what you get. So now we cut to Saturday, which is the wedding. Dion and Kate, they're now going on with the wedding. The Lattimores are going to be at the wedding, but they lock Norbit in the basement. They're like, we're going to wait till this wedding done. You're going to be locked in here. Once this is done, we're going to get the documents, sign it over from Dion to us. We're going to open up our little booby bar and we're going to keep it moving. Okay. And Kate, you know, later for her. So the day of the wedding, Norbit essentially breaks out of the house. The Lattimores are freaking out. They're going to try to stop Norbit from getting there. And these pimps at the wedding, they're stalling the wedding. Okay, so that's what's going on. They're going to go and stall that wedding. So they're stalling the wedding and everything. And then Norbit makes his way over because they couldn't stop him. You know, he's all wet and everything. He has some documents that also got destroyed. So he goes up there. And he's like, you know, Dion, he ain't ish. He's lying to you and everything. Kate's like, well, I can't believe you. He's like, I have documents here. I mean, they're all wet now. I mean, you can't really read them, but I mean, they were documents. And then Dion's like, boy, just stop you're obsessed. I mean, you're a lunatic. Just stop. He was like, yeah, I figured you guys wouldn't believe me. So I took the initiative of inviting all of Dion's ex-wives and girlfriends over. And he's like, ladies. And it's like 3 women that pop up with multiple kids. It's like 5 or 6 kids up in there, yo. Multiple kids, different aliases that he has used. So obviously, you know, he's just a gold digger. You know, he got all these women, got them pregnant and dipped. You know what I mean? That's really all it is that happened. So that happens. Then the Lattimores, they have like this weird kind of, you know, they have like this scene at the end, essentially, where the whole town is like, you know what, get out of here. And they run the Lattimores out of this area. Kate and Norbit end up getting married and everything. And you find out the Lattimores went all the way to Mexico. And I mean, that's how it ends, y'all. This movie is not deep at all. Okay, it's not deep at all. This is just silly, dumb fun that I truly enjoyed. I'm not even gonna lie, but it's not a deep movie. Don't think you're gonna get some serious meaning out of this at all, because it's not here. This is not what this movie is. Okay. Let me know if y'all seen this movie. Did y'all enjoy this movie? Did y'all enjoy this movie? Because I used to love this movie so much, and even now, I mean, I laugh at this movie. Okay, because you know, you watch something when you're younger and it's like, oh, this is good. Then you watch it when you're older and it's like, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. This ain't good. This movie had me laughing still. Okay. So let me know what y'all think. Did y'all like the movie? Did you not like the movie? What did you not like about the movie? Was it, you know, all the fat jokes? I mean, they were throwing fat jokes in probably every 5 minutes. It was a fat joke. Oh, she fat. Oh, Resputia's so fat. How fat is she? Oh, she ate 4 pieces. Oh, Resputia's so fat. Oh, how fat is she? Oh, well, she broke the turntable to turnstile at the water park. Oh, Resputia's so fat. And I'll just keep going back and forth. Let me know what y'all think about this down below. Hello. I hope you enjoyed the video. I would appreciate if you could leave a comment down below, and also do not forget to like and subscribe. I would also appreciate if you could support me at latricelimited.com. This is my own personal small business where I sell bath and body wellness items, such as I have bath bombs, I have soaps, candles, essential oil blends, sleep eye masks, and a whole bunch more. I'm actually going to show you 2 featured products. So this one is my candle. Okay, this is my vanilla wood wick candle. As you can see, there's wood in there, and it gives a nice crackling sound. It's like a bonfire, campfire, but in your house, yo. Smells so freaking good. This, my sweet roses, are my top scents for me personally. I also have soap. So this one right here is this nice cool water soap that I have. It's more of a masculine, sexy scent. So I would greatly appreciate if you could go and support me. And now I hope you have a good day.